All right, let's talk about a word you've probably heard thrown around a lot. Agile. What is it really? Is it just some tech industry buzzword, or is it a genuinely useful way to handle tricky projects? Well, today, we're going to dig in and figure out what Agile is actually all about. You know the feeling, right? You and your team spend weeks, maybe even months, crafting this perfect, super detailed plan. Every single step is mapped out. And then the project actually starts, and reality just comes crashing in. The client wants something different, a new piece of tech comes out, or you just stumble upon something you had no way of knowing beforehand. All of a sudden, that perfect plan is totally useless. So this clash between the plan and the real world, it really highlights a choice you have to make on any project. It's basically a tale of two completely different ways of getting things done. So on one hand, you've got the traditional method, often called waterfall or predictive. And that name says it all, right? The idea is to predict everything up front, make a detailed plan, and then just execute it step by step, no deviations. But on the other hand, you've got the agile way. It starts with the assumption that things will change. So the goal isn't to stick to the plan, but to adapt and respond to those changes as they come up. And look, the traditional way is fantastic for certain things. Building a house is the perfect example. You absolutely need that detailed blueprint. You can't get halfway done and then decide, you know what, let's move the kitchen over here. The plumbing's already in. So for projects where you know exactly what you're building and exactly how to do it, a rigid plan is your best friend. But what about for things filled with unknowns, like creating a brand new piece of software? And that's exactly where our story really kicks off. All that frustration with the old, rigid model, especially in the super fast-paced world of software, led to a pretty revolutionary idea. Picture this. It's 2001. A group of 17 software developers, they all get together, and they're just fed up. They're tired of seeing these huge, detailed plans fail over and over again. They knew they needed something more flexible, something that could actually handle change. They needed a whole new philosophy. And this is what they came up with. The Manifesto for Agile Software Development. I absolutely love this opening line. It just perfectly captures the spirit of Agile. It's not some rule book set in stone. It's about constantly learning and getting better by actually doing the work. So the manifesto lays out its core ideas as a series of choices. It says we value individuals and interactions more than rigid processes and tools. We value working software more than pages and pages of documentation. We value customer collaboration more than tough contract negotiation. And the big one, we value responding to change more than following a plan. Now, the key thing here is that it doesn't say that things on the right have zero value. Of course they have value. But it says when you're dealing with uncertainty, the stuff on the left, that's what you've got to value more. Okay, so those are the big picture values. But to actually put them into action, the manifesto is backed up by 12 guiding principles. Let's see how those create a more concrete way of working. Now, we could sit here and go through all 12 principles, but honestly, they all boil down to three really powerful themes. First, a total, relentless focus on delivering value to your customer. Second, empowering your team to actually do their best work. And third, building in a constant cycle of adapting and improving. This is the real engine of Agile right here. So this idea of focusing on customer value, what does that actually look like? Well, it means things like early and continuous delivery, so the customer is seeing progress all the time, not just in one big reveal at the end. It also means you welcome changing requirements, because that's how you end up building what the customer truly needs, not just what they thought they needed at the start. And your number one measure of progress? It isn't some fancy report, it's actual working software. Okay, so Agile sounds pretty great, but, and this is a really big but, is it the right tool for every single project? No, absolutely not. The real magic is knowing when to use it. It really all comes down to two big things: uncertainty and complexity. If your project is swimming in either of those, Agile is probably a smart move. And there are a couple of really great frameworks that can help us figure out exactly what kind of project we're up against. Check this out. This is Obeng's framework. It's so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. On one axis, you've got how certain you are about what you need to do. On the other, how certain you are about how to do it. Now, if you're high on both, you know the what and the how, that top left quadrant is perfect for a traditional waterfall plan. But what if you're not sure about the what, or the how, or both? Well, that's where the other three quadrants come in. In any of those cases, a rigid plan is just asking for trouble. You need to learn as you go, and that makes them a perfect fit for Agile. Now let's add another layer. This is the Cynefin framework. And I know, it's a funny-looking word, it's Welsh, and it's pronounced Cynefin. It helps us think about complexity by sorting things into 4 main types of environments: simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic. And that little space in the middle, that's disorder, which is when you don't even know which environment you're in yet. So let's break this down. Simple problems are the knowns. Think following a recipe. A traditional plan works perfectly. Complicated problems are the knowable. There is a right answer, but you need an expert to find it, like fixing a car. Complex problems are emergent. The outcome is not predictable, kind of like raising a kid. It's these 2 middle domains, complicated and complex, that are Agile's sweet spot because they're all about learning and adapting. And chaotic? That's a full-blown crisis. The only goal there is to act now and just try to create some stability. Agile isn't really for that kind of firefighting. So, when you do use Agile for those complicated, uncertain projects, what's the actual benefit? What's the big payoff here? Well, here it is. This is the payoff, and it all flows directly from those principles we talked about. You get really short feedback loops, so you find out if you're on the wrong track super fast. You're constantly adapting, so you don't get stuck building the wrong thing. Your plans become living documents that you update as you learn. You reduce risk by building and testing things in small, manageable pieces. And all of this is pointed at one goal: delivering the most possible value you can. At the end of the day, Agile isn't just a process you can install like a piece of software. It's really a mindset. It's a way of thinking built for dealing with uncertainty through learning, collaborating, and adapting. So here's what I want you to take away. This isn't just for software teams. So look at your own work, maybe even your own life. Where do you face uncertainty and complexity? Where could a shorter feedback loop, a little more adaptation, and a focus on real, tangible results make all the difference? That's something to think about.